There we go.
Okay. Recording in progress. You got your hat on. Okay.
For you.
For me, I'm not wearing it.
That's good. I
Okay,
can look just as Jewish for 30 shekels from the shuk.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay, ve'ena tshuva nimnas al achoita. I don't remember exactly what, but okay. Ve'ena tshuva nimnas al achoita on the bottom. Klolo shadav. To sum up, im kayemes miniya makeves achoita lachsu b'tshuva. If there's something that's not allowing the sinner to be choice, like we said, if he stole and he doesn't know who he stole from, there's certain things you have to do in the tshuva process, and there's something he himself can't fix it. He could do tshuva, but the action. He says that miniya. I don't know what this means. It's only his internal ra and his leiv, mushkos. Not sure why. We'll see in a minute in the Matnos Elkoi. But if he wants to come close to Hashem, he really wants to shar hatshuva in a sorgo, then the gateways of tshuva are not closed. If he really wants to come back, he could always come back. Even if there's something holding something in its way, it can't hold him back from doing the tshuva. Let me just see what it says here if he explains that line a little bit more. Let's see, I can find it here. Okay. He's saying the only thing that could be holding back tshuva, the only real thing, and because he already said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of that thing that's not in your hands. To the extent they said if a person, God forbid, had a relationship with a woman and they gave birth to a mamzer, right? The mamzer will die.
What do you mean the mamzer will die? The mamzer is cursed to
Which word
die?
didn't you understand?
I'm sorry?
Which word didn't you understand?
So if wait. So if you have a mamzer and then the father does tshuva, the mamzer will die?
And that's what we just discussed the last time. It was a hard concept that I don't understand totally. I don't understand it totally. But that's what Chovos haLevavos said. HaKadosh Baruch Hu removes that. Yeah. What about the moms that doesn't deserve to die? So there are different cheshbonos. I can only share with you things that I don't really understand. But I remember I once spoke to my Rebbe. There's a very famous machlokes if someone has the bechira to kill another, if that person shouldn't have died, right? He doesn't deserve to die, but I have free bechira, right? Bechira allows me to do what I want. So I could go and shoot you, Ron, right? Even if you're not chayiv misa, I could shoot you.
Well, I wouldn't be able to die if it wasn't Megazer and Mishamayim, no?
Okay, so there seems to be a major machlokes rishonim. Seems to be a very machlokes rishonim. There's a famous Orach Chaim HaKadosh, who he wasn't a Rishon, but there is an Orach Chaim HaKadosh that by the story with Yosef, right? The brothers wanted to kill him. Reuben says, don't kill him, put him into this pit that they knew was full of snakes and scorpions. So what was the game there? That's just another way of killing someone, is throwing him into the lair, into the jaws of the lion. So the Orach Chaim seems to say there that as long as they were going to kill him, they have that power, even if he's not chayiv misa. When they threw him in there, now it's bidei shamayim. And if he's not chayiv misa, he's not going to die. If they would have killed him, they would have hung him. They could have hung him even though he's not chayiv. So that's what he said. I asked my Rebbe, I met him, I'm telling you, on the street, Rehov Beit Vegan, I remember, in Beit Vegan, Rehov Beit Vegan, Shabbos. And I asked him, that's not fair. That guy didn't deserve to die. Not fair.
Who said life's fair, right?
That's not what he answered. He said just the opposite. He said, look, this is not the place to discuss it. You're in the middle of the street. And unfortunately, I never took it up with him afterwards. But he did say that that person who got killed, according to this Shita, will get all the Olam Haba he was supposed to get without having to go through all the challenges. So in a way, he gets a bonus.
Sorry, just so I understand. If you're murdered, and you weren't actually chayiv misa, then you get to skip all of the din.
You get to skip all of the challenges you would have had to gone through in life to get your Olam Haba. You get that Olam Haba. Sort of like a freebie almost. All
the mitzvahs that you would have done in the rest of your life.
Right. So you don't lose out. If anything, you gain.
So that seems like an advantage. We should be proactively doing this.
What do you mean, shooting people? Or
shooting people. Killed? You're going to get them as much schar as possible. And
yeah, but you're a murderer. You shoot him, you're a murderer. You're going to get punished. You can't kill people.
No, hang on.
I'm hanging. No,
it doesn't work that way. Because you can say you're doing, okay, I will give up my Olam Haba so everyone else can get infinite Olam Haba. It's very holy.
It's not holy. We say we don't do that. We don't tell a person to do an Avera. Gemara says you don't tell a person to do Avera in order that someone else shouldn't sin. Okay, look, like I told you, we didn't get to expand the discussion. And I so I don't know more than that, like one line. But at least, so it's fair. You didn't lose out. So we can apply the same thing here. If for some reason his tshuva process is being held back because the actual Averi is done is here. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu undoes what's going to be with him? He'll get his reward he's supposed to get. That's the best I could do here. I pick up my hands, I don't know better. So he says, so if there's anything holding the tshuva, he's summing up now really. If there's anything holding the chayta, the sinner from doing tshuva, it's just because in his heart he really doesn't want tshuva. Because if a person really wants to do tshuva, nothing stands in your way. That's what the haLevavos is saying here. He's saying, to sum up, if there's anything, you see that now it flows. I wasn't following. If there's anything that's stopping you from doing tshuva, it's you that you haven't cleaned your act up. That's the only thing that called you to do tshuva. But anything else, as real as it looks, like we just explained, as real as it looks, your act is still there. I mean, we write to this a person really wants to come back to Hashem. Tshuva and the Soga were fun of the gateways of tshuva are not closed. And nothing. Nothing can hold you back from coming to the tshuva and coming close to Hashem. The only thing that can hold you back, he's saying, is if you're not real, if you still haven't cleaned yourself up. Not only that, Hashem out of his chesed and goodness, he gives him a siyata d'shmaya. He opens up the gates of Yosher and shows him the right path. Hashem sees that person truly, all the way through wanting to do tshuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him siyata d'shmaya to do tshuva. Hashem is Toiv Yosha, says the pasuk in Tehillim. Okay, therefore, Yerech HaTayim Aderech. He leads, he guides the sinners on their way to come back. That's if the sinner is really groping and wants to come back. You'll ask, you were sent to Dolus, you were punished, and from wherever you are, you'll look for Hashem, you'll search for Hashem, and you'll find him. If you search for him with your whole heart and your whole spirit. Another pasuk in Devar. It's very close to you. As we all say in Ashrei, Hashem is close to all those who call out to him. But it gotta be real. It gotta be real. He says, my brother, I've explained to you why a person has to do tshuva. And I've taught you how to do tshuva. So now, if I've told you why you should do tshuva, and I've told you how to do tshuva, now the ball's in your court. Now, don't do tshuva. You're going to be held responsible. Until now, you could say, I didn't know. I wanted to do tshuva. I didn't know how, but we just went through the whole shara tshuva. You know how, and you know why. And if you don't do it, then you're going to be held responsible. Well, the end of the call is not for you. So you have no excuses. What are you going to answer to Hashem? What will you respond to Hashem tomorrow? Why didn't you do tshuva? Will you answer him? Will you say to him, well, I didn't know I was obligated to do tshuva? You can't give that thing. You know that. When I explain to you, you know that you're chayv. Maybe you'll say, I did what I did. I didn't know how to do tshuva. Says the haLevavos, you won't be able to give that answer either, that response either. Says the haLevavos, already revealed to you. I've taught you. So what are you going to respond to Hashem when he says, why didn't you do tshuva? And he says, there's no question that Hashem's going to ask. There's going to be a question. You get up there, you're going to say, okay, you did wrong, but why didn't you do tshuva? Yes, Ron, you're trying to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The examples he's breaking here appear to be not so nogeya, because look, there's a million reasons why someone would go off the derech, right? Whether life is too hard, or you had a trauma, or you had a this. So we can say Hashem's like, well, why didn't you do tshuva? It's like, well, because life was, whatever that reason is. So you're going to have an answer for that, whether it's a good answer or not. But it seems like the haLevavos is oversimplifying the issue. You're saying, well, it's like you should do tshuva because obviously you should do tshuva, or it's here. I see. I'm saying it doesn't seem like a very. I'm not convinced by his response here of, oh well, obviously it's like V'yetzi Yaakov Be'er-Sheva.
What? Did he wear a yarmulke?
Yeah, exactly. It's like because you do it, and obviously, because if I'm being told you should be doing something right, I have to be. You're making the assumption that I already assume that's right. But if I'm coming to, if I'm a friar yid, and I'm saying, and I'm being a friar yid with conviction, and I believe what I'm doing is either right or specifically not wrong. So therefore, it's not a valid question. haLevavos is assuming that we already. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work.
Right. So it sounds like he's talking to someone who does know. Who does know that it's wrong. You're right. We have a Konstantina Kshenichba also, right?
Right.
No way. He was a baby. He was brought up by, went through the war in Europe, was raised up by the Christians. He never knew he was Jewish. He doesn't know anything about it. Not held responsible, right? There's no question. Why did you do Jew? I didn't do. I didn't know I didn't know anything. Some people do know. Who do know. Now, there are instances where you could say that maybe I was a shaita, maybe I was an oines. I was so traumatized by something I went through that I lost my free will. Okay, so that's not a healthy person. You're right. Just like someone who's actually a shot, not held responsible for his action. So it could be that a person who, for some reason, went through some situation or something, but when you get to the Olam members, there's no faking it, They know exactly how much was your fault, how much wasn't your fault, how much you had the ability to choose, how much you didn't have the ability to choose. We're talking about someone, healthy person who has the ability to choose. He knows he did wrong. And he's saying, so you know you did wrong, you know you have to do wrong, you know how to do the tshuva, and now you'll be held responsible. You're right, Ron. You know, if it's gonna be a person who doesn't know he did wrong, there's no way of knowing he did wrong. You know, Uri Zohar was nifter, right?
Who?
Uri Zohar, you remember him? He was in the news. Where are you, Ron? Rabbi Zohar, Uri Zohar? Uri Zohar.
I don't like the Agmas Nefesh of watching the news.
Okay, no. This is something. Uri Zohar was a tremendous Talmud Chacham. Tremendous Talmud Chacham. You know, Nigla, Nistar, he was tremendous Talmud Chacham. He was the leader of Lev Lachim, a tremendous kiruv. He was one of the greatest kiruv people in our generation. But it all started at 40 years old. Because at 40 years old, he was at the height of the Bohemian entertainment in Israel. He was Joe Secular, the top actor in the country, the top movie director in the country. You couldn't get more successful and more secular than he was. Him and his wife, they lived in a mansion somewhere. They were living the life. They were living their life. I can't believe you don't know about him. Get a book. There's a book he wrote. It's translated into English. It's called "We Were Cheated. We Were Robbed" by Uri Zohar.
Uri Zohar?
What?
You said Uri Zohar, right?
Uri Zohar, yeah. He was nifted a few weeks ago. He's had a sudden. He was in his 80s and 90s. He had a sudden heart attack and he died. But he was he had come to a bris of, I don't know if it was a relative or a friend, someone, and he met there like a Yishalmi Rav. And the Yishalmi Rav, and he made fun of it. They mocked him. Him and his friends mocked this guy, you know, old-fashioned from Dark Ages. And that Rav, who happened to be Rav Zilberman, the famous Rav Zilberman, he challenged him. He said, Chum, if I prove to you that there's a God, will you keep Torah? If I prove to you. He invited him and that whole bunch to his house. And they all came for the first meeting. And that was the last time they came except Uri. Because Uri Zohar said, he's saying truth, and I can't hide from the truth. He was so far away, Ron. He can't be further away. He was like, you know, he was the celebrity. Everybody, it was like shook up the whole society that Uri Zohar became from. But he couldn't look the truth in his face and live a different life. The other ones, they took their walk and they went their way.
Right.
Just one ruling. So in Shamayim, they know if you had the opportunity to look the truth in its eyes and you chose not to. Again, I'm not judging them. I'm just saying this is a real life story. This happened when he was 40. He made a complete life change. He went to Beis Medrash. He was in our Sameach, I think, and he learned for years. And he conquered Chas. And then at some point, he was told by the Gedolim that he has to go to Out. He made this Lev Lachim where they knock on doors and they offer them, send their kids to religious schools, whatever. You could Google it. Just hit Google, type in Uri Zohar. So I'm just saying, when you get there, you got to be ready that a lot of the stories you told yourself are going to fall off. But okay, we're talking about someone healthy, normal, has the opportunity to do tshuva. He knows he has to do tshuva. He can't tell you didn't know that wasn't chayiv. He can't, obviously, if he's learning the Sefer, he never covers the love, so everything he's saying is irrelevant. He can't tell you not to do tshuva because I just taught you. That means us, Ron. We're not talking about the guy in street. Us, we've been learning haLevavos. We won't have an excuse. He's talking to us, someone who's at the end of Shara Torah. So when are you going to answer? When Hashem says, well, when did you do tshuva? Okay, you messed up, but when did you do tshuva? And there's no doubt that we're going to be faced with that question. So he says, if so, as long as you got time, prepare the answer. Let's do tshuva. Now's the time. Don't wait. You could do it. He says, my brother, you should know. You can't just say words. You got to come with action. You got to be real. I say the Cheshbon HaNefesh. Is that going to be the next star? I don't know if we did it. I know I did it with Simcha at one point. I think we started our original Seder doing it. Okay, we'll decide if we're going through it again. Because the next step is make yourself a cheshbon hanefesh. Rabbi Ganowski, that must be you. You're on 2 lines. Yeah, you're on twice. Okay, right. Make yourself a cheshbon hanefesh. In a way that you shall be able to come to where Hashem will find favor in you.
Rabbi Ganowski, are you with us? Yaakov, can you hear me? Yeah. All right. Ah! The wind. Blowing everything over. All right. I think we're out of time anyway, guys.
All right.
All right, that is it, guys. Cheers.